Hello everybody, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our weekend weather update and also an update on Typoon Trami, which is heading towards Japan this weekend. This is the Friday animated map for New Zealand. Look at the nor'westers coming in. That is pushing temperatures up above normal for the South Island. The North Island, a little cool still at night time, especially as we head into Saturday morning and Saturday night. But as we go through the weekend, it's going to get warmer and warmer as these nor'westers move up and across the country. So this is how Saturday is shaping up. Pretty settled around New Zealand. High pressure just to the north, light westerlies, and they get stronger the further south you go. Around the eastern side of the South Island, it'll be pretty warm after the recent colder change. So you'll enjoy that warmer, sunnier weather, I'm sure. But the rain does come back to the west coast, and it's very slow moving. So there could be some rain warnings as that system tracks slowly up the western side. And by the time we get to Sunday, a low starts to form around the South Island. So that drives in stronger nor'westers between that deepening low and the high that's out to the northeast. So a bit blustery on Sunday, but that's going to push temperatures up, especially in the North Island where you've got that subtropical nor'wester, but in the lower half of the South Island, perhaps not quite so warm with that low bringing in slightly cooler winds for the southern half of the island. So rainfall wise over the next few days, this is how it's shaping up, and you can kind of see quite clearly where most of the rain is falling on the west coast, and the totals could be above rainfall warning criteria, so just be aware of that, but mostly dry for the North Island this weekend. Let's go to next week, and Monday sees a weak cold front. That's the one that's moving up the South Island this weekend. So on Monday it's pretty weak. The high just nearby to the northeast, that hasn't moved away, but the winds and that low have kind of dropped. The low's kind of flattened out, and therefore the winds are dropping a little bit as it moves through, but you've still got a bit of a breezy sou'wester and a few showers, but mostly dry and settled around the South Island. By Tuesday, a little bit windier and a little cooler in the south. There's a cold front just there, a bit of a southerly, and a little bit of snow up in the mountains. But for the North Island, dry and settled in the north for the most part, maybe a couple of afternoon showers, and further south you've still got that sou'wester blowing through. And we end on Wednesday with an interesting development up here in the tropics connected to the current very early cyclone that's formed. It's going to fade away quite quickly this weekend, but the leftovers will remain, and so they are likely to come down towards us next week, but there's also a big belt of high pressure that's trying to block it, so we'll keep an eye on that one for now. All right, let's go to the Northern Hemisphere, and Typoon Trami just here moving in towards the southern Japan, Okinawa and places like that. It's basically stalled. It's been traveling at about 2 kilometers an hour, so I mean you can crawl at that speed. So this system is basically stopped, but it is going to turn, and when it moves up towards Japan it will speed up. There are a couple of other storms up in the Northern Hemisphere as well. This one's more tropical, this one is not. So this is the path of Trami over the next few days. Very slow movement, but all of a sudden it really quickly moves up, and Tokyo being in the firing line, although the storm will be moving through quite fast, but there could still be winds of well over 100, 150 kilometers an hour potentially as it comes in towards Tokyo. But hopefully it starts to weaken earlier than that. It does weaken quite a bit by the time it gets up to the north. That is all from me. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you again on Monday.